as hard of a combo to guard as we have in all of college basketball.
And so Williams, who has 7 consecutive double-doubles, will get it started opposite Uroš Plavšić in a rematch from a couple Saturdays ago, a defensive-minded game that Arkansas won 58-48. Kennedy Chandler runs the point, gets aggressive, and dishes to Plavšić, who gets fouled, and already one on Jalen Williams, who fouled out Wednesday night against LSU.
Right off the bat, Plavšić goes right at Jalen Williams' body on the drive, and expect that type of action to continue for the next 40 minutes. You can't let Williams be a free safety at the rim.
Plavšić rattles the first one home. He only had 2 points in the previous matchup between these two teams. It's a Tennessee team that is undefeated at home this season, 15-0. They're coming off of a comfortable midweek win against Georgia by 7. Starters for Arkansas have been the same the last few weeks. It keyed a big Arkansas turnaround, mainly on the defensive end. They've got great length with Davis, Amude, and Wade. And a turnaround for Stanley Amude, who draws the foul. The one change to that starting five is that Devontae Davis is back in the starting five for the Razorbacks.
Tom, both teams are so good at recognizing the mismatch quickly and exposing it. That time Amude got switched off on by the point guard of Tennessee. He goes right to the block. Now Tennessee came with a quick double team on the baseline side. Amude too quick, though, to get the shot off. Very well done.
Amude transferred from South Dakota, where he was one of the best scorers in college basketball, and he's been Robin to J.D. Notae's Batman in the Arkansas backcourt, and has been a key player for the Razorbacks this season.
Arkansas has not played in a hostile environment all season long on the road in their true road games. Now, Bud Walton has been electric and loud.
Yeah.
They'll have to carry some of that over with them today in a rocking Thompson Bowling Arena.
Here's Santiago Vescovi from 14.
So good with a shot fake as Vescovi. Not only at the three-point line, but playing off of 2 feet. His shot fake as good as we have in this league.
J.D. Notae was quiet last time out against LSU. He finished with only 12 points. There's Amude again.
Arkansas picking on the small point guard of Tennessee early.
Josiah Jordan-James with the three. James is coming off of a 23-point game against Georgia. He was red hot against the Bulldogs. And what a wild card he can be for this Tennessee lineup.
Now, neither team is heavy on the three ball. Tennessee has increased it from last year. But you cannot allow Josiah Jordan-James to get free in transition.
Here's Notae, second best scorer in the SEC. He's been in double figures every game this season.
Now, Tommy's coming off of the game. You and I did it Wednesday night. LSU kind of bothered him for the first time all year, blitzing that ball screen. Major factor down the stretch, though, because, again, he is a dude at the end of the day.
Brandon Huntley Hatfield off the mark and a foul on the rebound. Eric Musselman said, you know, it was the first time we'd seen that coverage, but it was good for us to see because we're going to see it again down the road the rest of the season.
Absolutely. You get into deep March in that NCAA tournament, teams try to scheme away your best guy. And J.D. Notae, I thought, was patient against that blitz coverage of LSU. But on the road today, number one in that Arkansas uniform, he's got to be big.
They let Jalen Williams bring the ball up the court, finally get it to Notae here after a couple of passes. Notae can't finish. Vescovi the board. He had double-figure rebounds in the first matchup between these two teams. It was a defensive-minded affair for sure. The team shot the ball particularly well in Fayetteville. The Volunteers are shooting it well to start this one. And that includes 2 for 2 from D.
That quick trigger of Vescovi. Tennessee with perfect passing on their three-point shots this year. Those makes are tied to the ability to deliver the ball on time, on target. Vescovi lets it fly.
Volunteers have scored the last 6. Amude to the elbow. Wow. Stanley Amude's got 5 early on for the Hogs, all 5.
He has been tremendous in the last month. Amude as that second perimeter scorer with Notae.
Something in the air tonight here in Knoxville. Kennedy Chandler knocks it down. Volunteers have started 4 for 5.
Tom, in a game like this, both coaches, you just tell your guys, cut it loose and play, man. We know them, they know us. Toss it up and let's go.
Amude. No. And rebound knocked out by Wade.
And the 3-ball of Tennessee, a perfect 3 for 3 so far. They've gotten in transition. And again, their passing is so good, and they get behind the ball as shooters and stepping into their shot as opposed to reaching back. Chandler with a really good feel where that three-point line was, spins it in, and the ball is off to a good start on Rocky Top.
Well, Tennessee 253rd in the country in two-point percentage. It puts an emphasis not only on their three-point shooting, but their defense.
Yeah.
And the two of the favorite Volunteers, Zakai Ziegler and John Fulkerson, just checked in the game to a loud ovation. Good hands by Chris Likes and an Arkansas steal. Here's Amude again. He's been the go-to guy for Arkansas early on. What a great pass from Vescovy, just a hair behind James. Tennessee shooting 80% from the floor to start this thing. The Volunteers have opened up an 8-point lead at home against Arkansas. Rick Barnes won 3 of the first 4 head-to-head matches. Matchups with Coach K, even though Krzyzewski leads the all-time head-to-head 9-3. They last met in the 2009 NCAA tournament. There's some similarities between these Hall of Famers, and you saw it firsthand when you watched film with Tennessee last night. It was not a quick session.
Coach K and Rick Barnes, they live in the film room. I was in there with Tennessee last night for about an hour, and it was intense. Watching about 20 minutes of yesterday's practice, and they moved on to Arkansas. It got so intense at one point, Rick Barnes was talking about a play he wanted to run today. And he said it's the same play that Skinny Poon used to run at Boston College. Skinny Pin is his number, but he called it his name, but he called him Skinny Poon, and no one said a word, just kept listening.
It's way funnier in the retell, I got to be honest. The guy Ziegler hits his first shot. What a reaction Volunteer fans have had for him and his family after a house fire last week. They've raised nearly $400,000 for the Ziegler family. His mom in Knoxville now after the residence in Queens, New York caught fire last week. Here's James. Back to Ziegler, and no whistle on the bump from Mike. And one part of your story, Jimmy, that stands out to me, I think fans wouldn't realize, game film is one thing, but the fact the coaches spend so much time watching their own practices and using it as a teaching point.
Yeah, especially this late in the year. And Rick Barnes you could feel the intensity in the film room last night was going to carry over today. And you've seen it from both ball clubs so far. Again, both teams legitimate Final Four contenders.
It didn't start that way for Arkansas. The Razorbacks lost to Hofstra in the non-conference, among others. They started conference play 0-3, including a home loss to Vandy. Now they've won 14 out of 15. In fact, they became the first major conference team to win 8 straight in their league. That's Vescovy after an 0-3 start since UCLA in 1981.
Tom, over the last month, Arkansas has held opponents to 26% shooting from the three-point line with their high-hand closeouts. So far, Tennessee, no problem rising and firing over the top.
Well, one of the issues for Arkansas defensively today, as J.D. Note hits one, is that they are playing at least early on without 6'6" Audis Toney. Injured his ankle late in the LSU game. It was questionable whether or not he'll see the floor today. Maybe available in an emergency situation. There's John Fulkerson, the 6-year senior, and the crowd to its feet at Thompson Bowling.
John Fulkerson was really good last year in his first senior day. This is his second senior day. He had 14 and 7 last year against Florida.
Tennessee 7 of 10 from the floor. And Arkansas will have 14 seconds remaining on the shot clock.
And Tennessee is really moving that ball hot from side to side. Again, their passes are on purpose, on point. And letting that thing fly with the outstretched arms. You have to make some guarded threes against Arkansas because they are so good and so fast and so big on their closeouts. And Fulke with a nice rim cut off the paint touch of Ziegler.
At the baseline out of bounds, Jalen Williams misses a mid-range shot. That is his first shot in this game.
Tom, Tennessee continues to put a body on Jalen Williams on any off-ball action, not allowing Jay Will to just be a free safety and roam in front of that rim. I like what Tennessee's doing, making him defend around that restricted arc.
Williams will get a breather here. Kennedy Chandler returns for Tennessee. It's a different Arkansas team without the 6'10 sophomore out of Fort Smith on the floor. Here's Chandler. A foul on the shot. And it's the first on Amude.
Tom, that's potentially a big loss, Audis Toney, for Arkansas today. The reason why I say that, Audis Toney has developed into a defender for Eric Musselman that you can put him on anybody, especially the last 4 or 5 minutes of a ball game, and take out the guy that's hurting you the most.
Chandler left that short. He's turned into a different player since the Texas game. Rick Barnes put him in touch with T.J. Ford, his former point guard, and T.J. Ford said, you want to play point guard for Rick Barnes? You have to be accountable. It's not going to be easy. He will hold you to a high standard.
Well, you got to be the toughest guy on the floor as a point guard spot for Rick Barnes. You start all the way back to T.J. Ford, Jordan Bone, just keep on going down the line. And he does not wait, Rick Barnes, until you're a sophomore. Your first practice as a freshman, man, it is right in the nose, right in front of you. He was on Kennedy Chandler and Ziegler last night, extremely hard in that film room, expecting a lot today.
Here's J.D. Note. He has 5. Chandler in transition will pull it back out.
Note's such a strong driver. His kill spot is anything in the middle third of the floor. As a three-point shooter, as an elbow jump shooter, or going to the rim.
Falling like bowling pins. And Chris Likes trying to catch his breath. He took a shot as he went to the floor.
Arkansas tries to blow up dribble handoffs. And at times there's going to be a lot of heavy contact. And watch Likes right here. He's going to try to blow it up. Bam, and he gets blown up. Hard collision, hard contact. And J.D. Note, again, what is his kill spot? It's in the middle third of the floor. And that's a hard guarded shot going to his left. If you're Tennessee, you pat him on the butt and say, nice play, and play on.
Foul is on Likes after the collision with Fulkerson. Volunteers have hit 7 of 10 to start this game. Wow. Chandler with the 3. That's his second triple early.
Tennessee comes in making 8 3-point shots per game in conference play at 35%. If you're Arkansas, you think, can they keep shooting at this high rate? You better guard them.
Note down the lane. Rebounded by Ziegler.
Mismatch, right?
Yep. Adu with the turnaround and draws a foul from Kamani Johnson. Tennessee 6 of 7 from deep to open up an 11-point lead here at home.
Step, and when you do that, now the drive ability of Ziegler, Vescovy, and Chandler comes into play.
If we don't see Audis Toney in a game for Arkansas today, what does that do to them on the defensive end?
It really hurts them. He's, like I said, he's their most versatile defensive guy. And you can put him on any guard that's hurting you all the way up to a 6'8", 6'9", 4. That's the value of a kid, especially on the road, man. You lose what is your best defense.
If you ankle in tonight.
throw. Arkansas was very good, Tom, staying in front of the ball when Note was the handle.
Hard screen from up top. Tennessee back out to Vescovich.
The mismatch.
Adu gives it up. The Ziegler-Likes matchup is a fascinating one. Here's Chandler now. Double clutch. He throws in his third three of the game.
You have to make Tennessee bounce the ball. And they are red hot from the three-point line. That high-hand challenge isn't enough.
Kennedy Chandler comes from a long line of scores. His grandpa, KC, played at Hamilton High School in Memphis. He was such a great scorer. His nickname was 40. Wow. That's what he scored per game.
Is that why people call him Zero? Now it's coming around.
I'm working with Jimmy .9 Dykes.
Oh, man, Arkansas's got their hands full. I mean, that high-hand closeout time, now it's not enough.
Yeah.
We're almost 10 minutes in, and you've got to start making Tennessee do something off the bounce. That urgency has got to pick up for the Hogs in this building.
Lob to Wade. In traffic, Ziegler stripped him. It will be Tennessee basketball. So what's on the line for these two teams today? With an Auburn loss, the winner of this one would share the SEC regular season crown. 3 teams, 1 game behind Auburn. These two in Kentucky. A shot clock violation off a baseline out of bounds.
Yeah, Trey Wade's got to shoot the jump shot. And you got 2 seconds to work with. He popped out to an uncontested 12-footer. Lack of awareness by 3.
Tennessee averages 9 made threes a game. Jimmy mentioned that a moment ago. They've already made 7 this afternoon. We're not yet 10 minutes in.
That's really well done by Plavsic. I mean, Plavsic's got a foot right at the restricted arc before he shot the ball. Exactly what you want from a post player in this league.
Corner 3 off the mark. Arkansas shooting just 35% from the floor in this game, while Tennessee's at 77, and an offensive foul in transition. 30-13 Tennessee. Coming up next, 2 Eastern, 1 Central. These 3 games will take us through another huge day of college basketball. First of the Big Ten. Last weekend of the regular season. What a rivalry. Purdue and Indiana. Carolina and Duke come your way. 6 o'clock Eastern. It's Coach K's final game at Cameron Indoor. 6 Eastern, 3 Pacific. You'll want to tune in early. There'll be a fantastic pregame ceremony featuring all the former players that played for Coach K, at least those that aren't playing in the NBA this weekend. A Tennessee takeaway. Jimmy, Tennessee's on a 9-0 run. They've only missed 3 shots in the first quarter of this game.
A block a block call on Jalen Williams. He's been the best in the country at taking charges down that 5 position. And he had a couple of them Wednesday night against LSU that were actually blocks, and he got the favorable whistle. Not here today. That's an easy call. He's stepping over as Vescovi on the straight line path.
That's how Arkansas is a rim protecting defense. Here on the run, Bermuda, bad pass. They're not a great shot blocking team, so if you take that weapon away, it's got to change who they are in the paint.
And it certainly changes Arkansas, Tom, when Jalen Williams goes out of the ball game. Right. In this aspect, they get 38% on the defensive glass when he's on the floor. That number drops to 28% when he's off the floor. Now that he's off the floor, Arkansas is vulnerable on that offensive glass.
Huntley Hatfield, they had a fistful of jersey on him. It's the first on KK Robinson.
Man, what an atmosphere and what a moment. And the emotion is just going to jump off the screen tonight when Coach K walks out of that locker room for the last time to begin a ball game. He's got a lot of tremendous qualities as a leader. His ability to adapt over the years certainly has to be at the top of the list. adapting with recruiting, adapting with rule changes, adapting how you build your roster.
It's a sign of all the great coaches.
32 days they camped out in Sheshevskyville to get a ticket. What would you do for 32 days camping out?
I'd be watching tonight's primetime game on ABC and the ESPN app. I could watch it on my phone, so that'd be easy. It's Steph playing the Warriors in L.A. to take on LeBron and the Lakers. Golden State won the last matchup 117-115. Clay at 16 in the fourth quarter. Great to see him healthy and back on the floor. Our coverage begins with NBA Countdown. 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific on ABC and the ESPN app. 32 days in a tent?
I guess the question would be, what would you camp out for 32 days in order to get to see?
The chance to work with you again. Arkansas's got a drought of nearly 4 minutes. That'll continue. Davis tried to pick it up. Healed it to himself. Shot clock at 10. Evo Davis can be a go-to guy on the offensive end. Shot clock now at 3. Never gave it up. And he hits the mid-range.
Yeah, he has really gotten his confidence back. He was an all preseason SEC guy to start the year. Been kind of an up and down season for him. But, man, those last 5 or 6 ball games, Devo's back to being Devo.
And the game winner against Oral Roberts to take Arkansas to the Elite Eight. What a run. That's one of the reasons, in this game notwithstanding, I think a lot of people think that Arkansas has a great chance to go on a deep run under Eric Musselman because they've done it. They went to the Elite Eight last year.
And Tom, they're built to do it. Those 3 6'6" guys, when Tony's on the floor, are a real problem to match up with. You know, the one position with Note is as good as anything we have in college ball. The 5 spot with Jalen Williams can match up with anyone. Just their physical size is a real problem.
They are closing with the toughest schedule in college basketball right now, and they get everybody's best every night, usually in front of a packed house, as you said, at Bud Walton. Are they fatigued? Does that wear a team out over the course of a season?
I think everybody in the SEC, especially those top 4, are trying to restore their energy between now and Tampa. And those top 4 have a break. They don't play till Friday, so they'll get a good 48 hours if this game to kind of recover their body and their minds. You've got to grind through it. And again, both these teams now, they are serious threats to be in New Orleans.
Tennessee is sizzling hot in this game. 77% from the floor, 7 of 8 from 3. They're shooting a better percentage from 3 than from the free throw line.
And Eric Musselman has gone deeper in his bench today than he's gone in a long time. Robinson and KK getting minutes. Arkansas has been about a 7-man rotation for the last 6 weeks.
Jackson Robinson drills his first chance.
He comes in the game to do that. He's a deep corner shooter at his core. Watch how hard Tennessee cuts off the ball. The hardest cutting team in this league.
Vescovi tried to share it inside, taken away by KK Robinson. I think the Hogs can find some tempo. Jackson Robinson again. And a foul on the floor will go against Santiago Vescovi. It's a 33-18 lead for Tennessee, 2 of the league's best. Sold out Thompson Bowling Arena. This is the SEC on ESPN.
Exactly where we go from here. And this is a Tennessee team, their depth. Rick Barnes has not put a bad defensive player on the floor. And you've already knocked off Arizona and Auburn that are projected #1 seeds. That tells you all you need to know about how dangerous this team in white will be.
Another Arkansas turnover. Tennessee 77% from the floor, but they haven't made a shot. A field goal in 3 minutes. Here's Fulkerson on his second senior day. And they're going to get a foul on Kamani Johnson. Kind of starting to feel like it's not going to be Arkansas's day. Where can they find a run? Where can they put it together?
I was just thinking that. You look out there, no Jalen Williams, no J.D. Note. And those are your 2 hosses. You're on the road playing with guys that have had limited minutes this year. Offensively, where can Arkansas answer? Defensively, Musselman doesn't put a bad defender on the floor as well. Offensively, can Arkansas hang in this game without Jay Will and Note on the floor?
Fulkerson's got another free throw coming. We're going to celebrate Coach K all day today in college basketball. You know, Coach K had 208 players in his time at Duke. Meanwhile, John Fulkerson has played with 45 different teammates. That's 22% of the total of players that played for Coach K in 42 years.
That's tremendous. What I love about Fulky, a lot of things. I walked into their team meal last night, and he looks up and he says, "Hey, where are we on the jet?" Like, it was a serious question. Like, he wanted to know. I said, "Fulky, you're flirting with first class." He said, "Thank you, Coach." Like, it was all business with him.
Committed his first personal. He's such a veteran, he even knows when we're talking about him, he'll stop the clock to give us more time. Illegal screen goes against Devo Davis.
Arkansas just really out of sync right now. You're missing Audis Toney with an injury. And no Note, no Jay Will. The most difficult thing to defend in this league is that high ball screen involving those two. Right now, it's not a factor in this game.
Eric Musselman spent 14 years as a professional coach, majority of those in the old CBA. He knows the value of rest and in-game rest, and you just get the feeling that that's what we're looking at with Jalen Williams and J.D. Note. And he just got teed up. Not going down without a fight.
Tom, there's a ton of fight inside of this guy, and I walked around downtown Knoxville with him yesterday afternoon for about 30 minutes. We both just happened to randomly meet up. And the stories he talked about, his CBA days, his NBA days, and how he's learned to fight, man, as a head coach. And what I appreciate about him is it's not going to take him 3 or 4 or 5 years to flip that program and have success in postseason. He did it immediately, and that's what you're looking for in this league when you make a hire. And Eric Musselman grabbed that Arkansas job and said, "We're winning right now." He knows. He knew yesterday at 3 o'clock when we were walking around town, they're going to have their hands full today in this building.
He is not stopping. Got to be careful. If you watched the SEC women's tournament last night, you saw Alabama head coach Christy Curry picked up 2 technicals in the first half and got ejected before they got to halftime. That was in the Lady Vols' commanding victory in Nashville. Men's tournament starts in Tampa. Musselman still all over Joe Lindsey and his entire staff right now. Powell with the step through. Nice move for the Auburn transfer. His first bucket.
That should not happen. Arkansas is too good defensively. You got inexperienced guys on the floor, though, not fighting at the level that they're supposed to in Musselman's eyes.
A little leaner for K.K. Robinson, sophomore out of Little Rock. Ziegler with a burst. And an offensive foul. Well, that was odd. It was almost like he made more contact with John Fulkerson than the other teams.
Tennessee continues to punish the front of the rim in their transition. And whether it's Fulkerson or Adu or Huntley Hatfield, they're going body on body, but it happens so quick. Fulkerson right there with the hip check. I think that's a proper call. I know it is.
Yeah.
I mean, Fulkerson dislodges the defender, although he's on the move. But that just speaks to the physicality that Tennessee's playing within this game.
So it's a second on Fulkerson.
J.D. Note needs to have a really good next 6 minutes to get Arkansas back in this game, and he's capable of doing it.
Powell with the reach in.
Hands on the dribbler are an automatic, and Joe Lindsey right on top of the call.
Team foul on Tennessee. Arkansas has only shot 2 free throws in this game. The Tennessee's 14 to this point. And Devo Davis will go to the line. 4-star recruit, 4-time first-team All-State out of Jacksonville High School in Arkansas. Vescovi tried to save it. It will stay with the Hogs. Arkansas leads the country in both free throw attempts and free throws made. So this is not in their DNA to only attempt 3 free throws in the first 14 minutes of a game. Part of it, the fact that Note and Williams have been sitting.
And it speaks to who they are offensively. They are a hard-driving team. And again, Note, Tom, really struggling to get in the paint in this ball game, just like he did in their win in Fayetteville.
Here's Ziegler down the lane. Boy, he threw on the brakes but couldn't knock it down.
You know, without Jalen Williams on the floor, Tennessee's going to have some ability to get to the rim, right?
Even with their smaller guard.
Absolutely. Well, that high butt screen in transition, hard to handle. That Tennessee throws at you about any time they get a chance.
How do you teach that?
Well, wait till the shot goes or doesn't go. So what I mean by that high butt screen, the Tennessee post player, Tom, they'll actually be facing the rim.
There's an offensive foul on Robinson, and it's his second.
And it puts that defender in a real predicament, what shoulder to get on, and frees up that ball screen coming at you. It's a hard play to handle. Simple in transition, hard to cover.
Seventh Arkansas turnover. On a day where they're shooting just 38%. Chris Likes. Miami transfer re-enters, and he'll take Robinson's spot. This Tennessee backcourt has been such a strength for them all season. 3 different players that all bring something different to the table. And Kennedy Chandler, Santiago Vescovi, and Zakai Ziegler, who comes off the bench.
And think about what Tennessee has done to Arkansas's defense. 2 best defenses in SEC play, holding opponents to 66 points. Tennessee is going to be close to 50 in the first half if Arkansas doesn't tighten down.
Vols have hit 7 threes in this game. 2 of those have come second chance points off of offensive rebounds. Ziegler with the shovel pass. Oh, it was stripped away by Kamani Johnson, but the Volunteers find it. With 5, Chandler got it! Kennedy Chandler, another 3. He's got a dozen in the first half.
Just a fight factor by Tennessee to come up with a loose ball. Sometimes the ball knows when it deserves to go in, and that was one of them.
J.D. Note just 2 for 7 in this game. Here's Ziegler now. Another Tennessee pouring it on.
Tom, you said it early. Tennessee playing loose.
Connection to the Hogs and Todd Day and Lee Mayfield.
No, you cannot. And this kid could have gone anywhere in the country, and he chose Tennessee because he said, I wanted to be hard coached every day. Not that he wouldn't at some other schools, but that's the reputation Rick Barnes has. And I wasn't sure 6 weeks ago Tennessee could be a Final Four team because of the point guard play, inconsistency of Kennedy Chandler. That question has been eliminated. He is absolutely, along with Zakai Ziegler, good enough to get you that championship game.
Chris Likes with the 3. That ends a 2-minute, 10-second Arkansas drought. Turned into a fadeaway from Huntley Hatfield.
Why would Huntley Hatfield get the ball in front of the rim and shoot it 8 feet on the other side of the rim? Rick Barnes is going to ask the question as he comes to the bench as well right now.
French judge does not give you points for difficulty. Not in basketball. Chief, halftime report coming your way. A lot of talk about in college basketball, including game day at Cameron Indoor, the farewell to Coach K. Other conferences coming down to the wire. Big one in the Big 12 today, and we've got the Big 10 to follow.
Tom, what's the ACC going to look like going forward? Ooh, no Coach K, no Roy Williams. I mean, that's a major hit to a league.
And how many years does Jim Boeheim have left to share?
Yeah, Leonard Hamilton. And the ACC is in a downward spiral right now. You just can't take for granted that winning's going to stay consistent at the top of the league. And Shire's a tremendous hire from what I think. I believe in Hubert Davis, but I'm telling you, you lose 2 legends in that league within an 11-month period. Keep an eye on the ACC going forward. A lot of questions right now than answers.
So it stands to reason that over the span of one player's college career, being 4 years or so, you could have John. What a pass from likes. Job changes at Carolina, Duke, Louisville, and Syracuse, all in that span. Those are the top programs in your league year in and year out.
It's a huge hire waiting to happen at Louisville, to your point, because we know how good a job that is. There's not been that strong name surface. I don't know, would Mick Cronin leave UCLA to come back to the part of the country and where he once was? If so, home run hire.
Here's Santiago Vescovi, got his shot blocked. It'll be Arkansas basketball, 3:06 to play in the half. Let's see, it's come back to earth offensively, 59%, but a red-hot start. And the Razorbacks undone by the lack of production from Jalen Williams, who's been on the bench a good chunk of this first half. Foul on Jonas Adu.
Interesting, J.D. Note on the bench. Doesn't have a foul yet. He's 2 for 7 in the ball game with 5 points. But Eric Musselman letting his young guys, untested guys, low-minute guys finish out this half.
And that includes Kamani Johnson Jr. from Brooklyn, who gives him just 8 minutes a game on average. He was part of the new look lineup when they came out against Missouri as they went bigger across the board, but got injured in that game and didn't play in the next 3.
That's what Eric told us on Wednesday. They were 0-3 in the league, and he did not flinch as a head coach in terms of how we're going to defend. I love what he told his guys. You can keep playing your way, we will keep losing. You can play my way, and we'll start winning. And man, have they been hot ever since, up until this afternoon.
Ziegler, beautiful crossover. Didn't get the whistle. Just kind of threw it up at the end. Razorbacks trying to make some noise late, but it's another turnover. And then a foul from K.K. Robinson, and that is his 3rd. Every time Arkansas starts to make a mini run, and they've scored the last 6, then they make a killer mistake.
Arkansas, they just look so different when Jalen Williams is not on the floor. He changes everything for Arkansas on both ends. I mean, defensively, his ability to take away the rim, and their guards typically take away the 3, and Arkansas forces you to make a lot of tough 2s. Not in this game.
Vescovi 77% from the line on the year. Look at this lineup we have for sports fans today. Blackhawks square off against the Flyers at 3 Eastern, noon Pacific on ABC. Oh, by the way, North Carolina and Duke on ESPN, a Sonic blockbuster. Steph, Clay, and the Warriors take on LeBron and the Lakers on ABC. And the main card, UFC 272 from Las Vegas, 10 Eastern, 7 Pacific on ESPN Plus pay-per-view. A little bit of everything for you in this lineup. Vescovi knocks down both of them.
Speaking of hockey, how about our producer, Scott Matthews, his son, Blake Matthews, with a game winner today in the Connecticut playoff.
Let's go.
Yes. Way to go, Blake.
Josiah Jordan-James fouled on his way in, and he'll go to the free throw line. Well, if you're going to make a basketball player, you want to make him in the mold of Josiah Jordan-James, 6'6", 214, junior from Charleston, South Carolina. Jim, and I know you know this story, but Josiah Jordan is the name. And I talked to his mom earlier this season. She appreciates it when you give the full name instead of just Josiah or Jordan.
Josiah from a biblical character.
He's got biblical and he's got basketball.
And Michael Jordan is where Jordan comes from.
She said, my husband insisted on Jordan. I said, no, that's going second. Basketball will be second.
Yeah, good for them, right? And he is the keeper of the culture that Rick Barnes established when he first got here. From Grant Williams and Schofield, now Josiah Jordan-James, Vescovi and Fulke have kept that torch hot. Arkansas really just careless with the ball so far in this building. 10 turnovers for Arkansas in the first half.
That has led to 13 points for Tennessee off of those turnovers.
Tom, it also speaks, though, how gap-heavy Tennessee is and how active they are with their hands in those gaps. They attack the ball with 2 hands. Virginia defensively very good at the same thing. They don't reach with 1. They go at that thing with 2. They full body help on the gap.
Second on Adu. That'll put Kamani Johnson at the free throw line. Played 2 seasons at Little Rock, was an all Sun Belt Conference performer. And made his living at the free throw line with Little Rock, a 6th in school history, and free throws made a couple years ago.
Said Tennessee was going to get close to 50 and a half.
Yeah, you're right on.
They're a bucket away. Again, the winner of this game will be no worse than a 2 seed in Tampa next week.
A lot still to be determined today, especially in the middle of the pack in the SEC proceeding at the SEC tournament. But, Jimmy, I don't know if there's a huge difference the way everybody's playing in the 1 through 4 seeds right now.
I agree with you.
They do the block and then the foul.
The order that ends up, 1 through 4, does not matter.
There is still very much value, and Bruce Pearl has talked about it, winning a regular season and the reward for going through what has turned into an incredible grind. And he said that in many ways carries more weight than what happens in Tampa, where you get to the big dance and it can be a crapshoot with who you draw and what happens.
Rick Barnes told his guys last night, starting tomorrow, every game's the most important game we have left on our schedule, because after today, you lose and you're done in Tampa, you lose, you're done in the NCAA. And he's been very blunt with his guys about how good they can be. And they get scoring at the 5 spot out of Adu and Hunley Hatfield. Don't know. But defensively and rebounding-wise, those 2 kids can hold their own.
Tennessee's last loss came 2 weeks ago against Arkansas. They haven't lost consecutive games all season. But to your point and Coach Barnes' point, that's moot. It's just 1 loss will knock you out of either tournament.
Tom, I said it earlier, just keep an eye on how hard Tennessee cuts off the ball. And Muss was talking about it yesterday with me. He said, there's not a team in college basketball that cuts harder. He said, I think we cut hard. As Razorbacks, we're not at the level of Tennessee.
Here's Ziegler. He'll let it fly from the E. And a foul inside will go against Huntley Hatfield. It's his second.
If you haven't fouled in this game, you're not trying. Because we now have 5 fouls called already. Right?
Hear more whistles in a Vanderbilt baseball game. Kamani Johnson to the free throw line. He is 4 of 6 from the line. It seemed like just a minute ago Arkansas had only been to the line 3 times. That's their 12th attempt this happening. I know we've talked about it. You're good with the way the game of basketball has been officiated this season?
I am. I think we're playing real basketball. And the freedom of movement, we can argue back and forth all we want about it, but just go back the last 2 or 3 years, the scoring is about the same, slightly up. The field goal percentage is slightly up. The possessions are slightly up. All the rules favor the offense. We just have to make sure we continue to call the game as the rules are written. That's all we're asking for. But we don't need to go back to calling 20, 21 per half. Just walk away. Just walk away. I mean, true toughness is doing what's right when it's hard to do what's right. And sometimes it's hard to just walk away. But that game at Cameron Indoor, that one starts at 6 Eastern, 3 Pacific. That graphic should be Indiana versus Peru, because there's no D in Purdue right now. To be that good offensively, Tom, they're number 1 in the country offensively. I mean, they are just a tremendous force on that end of the floor. But
did Indiana Jones ever go to Peru?
I don't know, but Purdue is number 100 defensively. That has bothered me all year. That's not who Matt Painter is. You watch that game, though. Jay Nivey would be the guy I would pick first in the NBA draft. You don't make comparisons to John Morant often, at least I don't. But that's as close as we've had since John Morant in college. Maybe just a bigger version.
Arkansas only 7 of 15 from the line. Speaking of John Morant, Kennedy Chandler has hooked up with Ja as a mentor, taken over some of his game too. It's his was texting with him yesterday, his dad told me. Here's Ziegler. Wow. Zakai Ziegler's got 9 in the first half.
Well, they got the 50.
The heave beats the buzzer. Came early, but it was wide. Tennessee has hung a 0.5 on Arkansas in the first half. They came in 35% from deep. They've hit 9 of 12. It's the second consecutive game J.D. Note has had a low-scoring first half. He really had to hustle to get into double figures against LSU on Wednesday. Is that a concern for Arkansas going forward?
Well, it will be after 2 games in a row, unless he comes back and is the J.D. Note this half that we've seen all season long. A phenomenal talent, a big guard, but the ball pressure of Tennessee has been a big part of this game and staying in front of the ball.
Jalen Williams only played 9.5 minutes in the first half, and then Arkansas turnover, trying to get it to them on their first possession. Well, crazier things have happened that you would assume that if Arkansas is going to make a run in this game, it's going to have to come from number 10 and number 1, and we get a 3-second violation on Brandon Huntley-Hatfield in a Tennessee turnover.
Arkansas is capable. I'm sure Musselman in his mind thinking, can we get it to 10 with 10 to go?
J.D. Note, 2 of 7 from the floor. He sat for 5 minutes in the first half. It's a rarity for him to not be in foul trouble and spend that much time on the bench. Monte Davis goes behind the back, got some space. That is Ole Miss. A shot clock violation, second of the game for the Hogs. Arkansas playing without Audie Stoney in this game, 6'6" guard, who was so disruptive in the first matchup between these two teams against the 6-foot Chandler, the 6'3" Besserby, and a 5'9" Ziegler.
Arkansas is not going to shoot their way back into this game. It's got to start on this end of the floor. So uncommon for the Razorbacks to give up 50.5.
Hatfield gets his first field goal.
Again, another post field goal attempt. And a post player has a foot in the restricted arc. And that you cannot get a deeper, better post look than what Tennessee just did.
Kennedy Chandler with the reach. His second personal.
Watch the patience of Huntley Hatfield to back down. He doesn't shoot this ball, though, until it gets inside the restricted arc. Right there, it goes up. And that's exactly how you teach it. Wow, it's a good call.
Wow, Jalen Williams called for the push-off. That is his third, and it comes a minute and a half into the second. Arkansas, 3 possessions, 3 turnovers, and a major personal foul on one of their leaders. Poked away by J.D. Note. Here's Amude. Williams for 3. Got it. That's his first bucket of the game.
Jalen Williams shooting 19% from the three-point line during the month of February. So if you're Tennessee, you don't have to overreact. That made 3 ball for him.
History will tell you it's a steep hill to climb for Arkansas. Our friend Hog Stats on Twitter points out since 1955, the Razorbacks are 1-28 in games in which they've trailed by 21 or more at the break. They beat Houston at Houston in January of 1979. Here's your history lesson for the day. Now Wilkerson back on the floor for second half of his second senior day. He grabbed the mic and addressed the crowd before the game. Last home game. He did something that he told us after Arizona before Christmas that he was anxious to do. He said, the one thing I haven't accomplished, I haven't led the band a la Peyton Manning. And so he certainly did that. I thought his
last Saturday?
Yeah.
Against Auburn?
I thought his tempo was just a little bit off, though.
A little fast?
A little fast.
He kissed the Tennessee logo last year as he exited the floor. Tears coming down. I really thought he was done at that point, but he didn't finish out the year last year because the elbow that he took from the Florida player.
Yep.
And he wanted to come back and kind of redeem his postseason play this year.
Knocked him out of the SEC tournament game and knocked him out of the postseason.
Arkansas's got to they got to get hot defensively in this game, and they're capable of doing it. They're so big on the ball, off ball, active with their arms.
6-0 Arkansas run over the last minute. Stanley Amude hit the last three. And now Note working on Vescovy.
For the first time, the building feels a little anxious.
Here's Jalen Williams for three again. Offensive board. J.D. Note. Another offensive rebound by Kamani Johnson. Lights for two. I think Arkansas chipped paint off the rim on that possession. They used every inch of it before it finally fell.
But Tom, when you get up two offensive rebounds like Tennessee did, you deserve to get scored on.
And now Note to steal and slam.
Yeah, the energy, the fire, just the belief in that Arkansas bench to a whole nother level to start this second half. I said get it to 10 with 10 minutes to go. They're going to do that a lot earlier than 10.
It's a 10-0 run for the Razorbacks over the last 2 minutes and 5 seconds. Done it with effort, multiple offensive rebounds, and hot shooting from North Carolina tonight from Cameron Indoor. Final home game for Mike Krzyzewski. Here in the SEC, Tennessee leads Arkansas 52-39. Auburn has a lead early on. Both Tennessee and Auburn win. It'll be the first time any conference has three teams go unbeaten at home in a single season in 10 years. Big Ten did it with Ohio State, Purdue, and Wisconsin. Actually, 11 years ago. Those three would be Tennessee, Auburn, and Arkansas.
The top four teams in the league coming into there, 65-1? Oh, we left the O on the floor. We left the O on the floor. The cheerleaders
I think it was
did.
a sign. Arkansas needs some offense, so they left the O on the floor for the Hogs. Hey, cheerleaders.
I've never seen that in any basketball game. Like you get back over there with your group of cheerleaders, who's got the O? Who's got the O? Oh no. That was awesome. One way to stop an Arkansas run, I guess.
Right. Nobody else noticed. Jalen Williams fouled. They say it is on the floor. Arkansas has outscored Tennessee 10-4 since the intermission.
Tennessee 4 turnovers to start the second half, and Arkansas with 8 points off those turnovers. One of the best defensive teams in the country the last month has been Arkansas. More than capable of clamping down and making this thing a ball game with 15:06 to go.
Uroš Placic will head to the bench after committing his fourth. How about this?
Middle ball screen action by Note, the most difficult thing to defend in this league. He is so good, man, at attacking the hips, getting where he wants to go.
Here's Zakai Ziegler. J.D. Note tracks down the long rebound.
And he will fire. You better be up.
Jalen Williams out to Stanley Amude, wide open. Another rebound off a missed three, and the result is a foul on Fulkerson, his third.
What is the kill area for J.D. Note? It's in the middle third of the floor. Bam, and that ball screen right there just sends him right down the pipe, and Tennessee doesn't rotate over. Josiah Jordan-James hand helps instead of full body helps, and Note makes him pay.
Note loses Chandler, picks up James. Jalen Williams over Ziegler. Another board. Jimmy, that's about 4 threes Arkansas has missed this half. It would have continued their momentum. Fulkerson another foul. Jalen Williams going to the line, and that's number 4 on this 6th-year senior.
And the team fouls already piling up on Tennessee. That's number 5. Arkansas could not script a better opening 6 minutes, Tom, in the second half. They're forcing stuff off their defense. They're getting Tennessee in foul trouble. And J.D. Note is starting to be J.D. Note.
Hogs trail by 3 touchdowns at the break. Jalen Williams uses the rim. He's got 4 points, all coming in the second half. Fulkerson will have to sit with his 4th. Back-to-back fouls in the last minute for Fulke. Jalen Williams a long way away from what would be his 10th straight double-double. Oscar Tshiebwe has 12 consecutive. That's still active at an SEC record.
Tennessee was 9 out of 12 in the first half from the 3. That's an uncommonly high number. You know that's not going to continue. Arkansas feels very confident right now with a lot of time left.
It's a 14-2 Arkansas run. It's another Tennessee foul. It's the second of Josiah Jordan-James. Arkansas and Tennessee tied with Kentucky for second place in the SEC. An Auburn loss, and the winner of this one can share a regular season title.
The fouls are 6-1. And Tennessee has to start driving the ball if they're going to put fouls on Arkansas and quit settling for jump shots.
Hogs is 2 for 8 from 3 this half. Foul at midcourt on Likes. Whether it's been what they do on the offensive end or on the defensive end, but Arkansas just taken Tennessee completely out of its rhythm.
Well, they have. And Musselman has gone small at the guard spot with Likes now matched up with Ziegler. J.D. Notte on Chandler. And I'll say it again. Tennessee has to drive the ball right now in this game some.
Tennessee has made more 3s than 2s in this game. 9 threes, 7 2-point field goals. James. Good-looking shot.
A tough shot because Arkansas was they're extremely gap heavy that entire possession. But Josiah Jordan-James drove it to the gap for the 15-footer.
Likes on Ziegler. Rebounded by James.
You got to have the right guys taking the right shots at the right time, and that was not it.
Likes was a shoot-first guard when he played for Jim Larrañaga at Miami.
Yep.
Here's Chandler. Man, what a game for Kennedy Chandler. He is perfect from deep. 5 for 5. And then Chandler gets whistled for the foul. Foul trouble continues for Tennessee's stars, including Chandler's 3rd.
Tennessee has responded now with a couple of back-to-back makes by Josiah Jordan-James and Kennedy Chandler. The problem for Tennessee, they continue to foul at a high rate now. You look at the number of possessions we've had, Tom, in the second half.
Yep.
And Tennessee's fouling about every other possession. That's an excellent way for Arkansas to get back in this game.
Here's Stanley Moody at the free throw line. 68% on the season. He earns a bonus. He's now 2 for 3 at the line today. So Arkansas into the bonus with 12:17 to play.
It goes back to that Arkansas free throw number on the year. They're just strong, physical at the guard and the wing spot. If they get you in foul trouble, put a lot of points on that board from the charity stripe.
Foul on Likes, number 3. Not a shooting foul. Arkansas has 4 more field goal attempts this half than Tennessee, based primarily on those offensive rebounds. That's going to be off the curl. And traffic, and he draws another whistle.
lot of physical play in this game. Both teams play a physical style. We talked about it Wednesday in Bud Walton Arena. Arkansas is so good at physical with their body, but showing their hands. For the most part, they've done a good job of defending without fouling this year. And Tennessee prides themselves on butt checking you on their baseline out of bounds defense. They set hard physical screens on the offensive end.
Josiah Jordan-James again.
A really good read by Josiah Jordan-James off the out of bounds. Instead of finishing the curl, he pops to the three. A big shot for Tennessee.
He's been red hot after going 0 for 6 from deep against Arkansas 2 weeks ago. Devo Davis on the baseline.
That is his kill spot. I talked about where J.D. Note lives. Devo Davis on the left side of the rim finishes about a 64% clip.
Looks like your old roommate Valentine against North Carolina back in the day.
Charles Valentine with newspapers the next day said Happy Valentine's Day when we took down North Carolina at number 1.
One of only 2 wins against number 1 for Arkansas, the other at home against Auburn this season.
That was from about the same spot, Tom. You're right. Good call by you.
YouTube pays off. Long nights in hotel rooms. Likes kicks it out. Note blocked by Vescovy. That doesn't happen very often.
No, it does not. And it looked like a clean block. Not easy to do against one of the best scorers in college ball. Tennessee continues to be really physical with Jalen Williams off ball.
Vescovy into Williams, tried to pick up the charge. He left Adu, and Arkansas somehow gets the rebound. Tennessee's 5 men having a hard time at the rim in this one. Here's Johnson.
Tennessee, somebody's got to understand the 5 guys coming down the floor uncovered. You got to hit him hard.
A steal by J.D. Note. And he missed the layup. It'll be Arkansas basketball. Ziegler did just enough to throw him off.
Yeah, he sure did. Just knocked J.D. Note out of rhythm. A big shot, though, off the baseline out of bounds under Josiah Jordan-James instead of finishing.
SEC tournament starts Wednesday night on the SEC Network. Bottom 4 seeds are set, although the game matchups have not quite been set. And so we'll figure some of that out this afternoon. And we go in earnest with 4 games on Thursday. I mean, there's a lot to be proven at the SEC tournament this year.
Yeah, there is. And you don't want any part of desperate teams right now like Florida, Vanderbilt, Mississippi State, knowing they have to go there and probably get to the championship game to make noise. And the top 4 of this league, it's as good as it's ever been in the SEC. It's a historical year in this conference.
One loss among the top 4. What a shot by Josiah Jordan-James, who had 23 last time out, career high against Georgia, and he has found that stroke here in the second half again. Offensive foul, Devo Davis.
Pretty good 10 seconds by Josiah Jordan-James. Jumps up and makes it guarded tough, too. Then gets up and sprints his rear end off the other end and draws a charge. And that's man on man right there. That's a big physical defender, Amude. But what I appreciate more than anything is James getting up and sprinting his tail to the rim and drawing the charge.
James suffered a torn ligament in his left hand early this season. He missed 3 games in November. And he came back and the shooting was inconsistent. What really helped me get out of that slump was not necessarily my confidence, but the confidence that my teammates instilled in me. Chandler with the push off his 4th. And so if you came to a Tennessee practice in December, January, February, every time Josiah Jordan-James got a shot off, somebody who wears orange would say, "Hey, great shot, Jay. Great shot, Joe. Great shot." Every single time. And I said, man, I heard those words of encouragement. He said, I heard them every time I touched the ball. It meant so much for my teammates.
Yeah, speaking into action. And one of my all-time Coach K stories was about 3 years ago, Duke at Louisville. And Coach K talked about the importance of his voice in timeouts when things aren't going well. And they were down like 18 points with 9 to go and came back and won the game. He talked about, as a head coach, sometimes you don't even know what to say. Just speak positive. They are shooting that ball today.
Mountaineers have hit 5 of the last 6 to reopen this lead and make it more comfortable after a threat from Arkansas. Carolina Duke later, I think, says Coach K. My observation of Duke in a timeout is that he doesn't, to your point, waste any time. Some staffs discuss in a huddle 20 feet away from the bench what they're going to talk about and then come to the team. Here's James. And he said that's all by design. He said, I don't need to talk to my staff when the timeout starts. He said, I sit within my staff on the bench, and we discuss it the entire game. Right. There's no waste of time. Lights went down hard. He'll be at the free throw line when we return. Tennessee up on Arkansas, 67-48. Right there. Coming up next, 2 Eastern, 1 Central. These 3 games highlight another huge day of college basketball. Get to the Big Ten territory and the rivalry with great Purdue and Indiana. Then number 6, Kansas plays host to Texas at Allen Fieldhouse. And finally, not just Carolina Duke, it's Coach K's final game at Cameron Indoor. That one starts at 6 Eastern, 3 Pacific.
You know who I like out of the Big 12? Baylor.
That Baylor team tied with Kansas, both 13-4 going into the final game of the regular season.
I know their depth is questioned a little bit right now, but the 5 dudes that Scott Drew's putting on the floor, they are going to be a problem. Rick Barnes was talking about them last night before that film session began, and that Baylor team came up and he said, man, that's what you're supposed to look like heading into your conference tournament.
You know, it's interesting. I cover college football in the SEC as well, and a lot of coaches, if you try to talk to them about what's going on in the country, they say, you know, I'm just worried about our team and our next opponent. College basketball coaches, head coaches are hoops junkies. They watch everything. I'm sure Rick Barnes could have told you that Baylor leads the nation in those quad 1 wins with 12 of them.
They pay attention, and then right now they start zeroing in with their staff. Rick and Eric, I'm sure both will start looking at who are the potential 6 or 8 teams that we could possibly match up with in that first round, and they won't be far off.
Tennessee turnover.
Tennessee's been so good with the ball today to come overall. 16 assists on their 21 makes. That's what Tennessee basketball has stood for this year. They lead the SEC right at 15 assists per game.
Seven and a half to play. I'm running out on Arkansas already after they put together a nice run to start the half. Here's Jalen Williams. Tough shot.
I think he's really good for his kid 6'10" off the bounce and into a spin. And that time he spun himself into a jump shot. Tennessee not overreacting to his 3 ball, making Jay Will doing something on the bounce.
11 for Ziegler. Here's J.D. Ote. That left his hand and then he pushed it in.
He is such a crafty, big-time scorer. There's 5 or 6 guys who play the ball right now, Tom, that can single-handedly win a couple of games in the NCAA tournament. J.D. Note is good enough to do that for Arkansas. He's been held in check on Wednesday night with Bud Walton and so far in this game, but you can just see he's got that it factor that you got to have. You're going to do something special in that NCAA tournament.
It is a short list of players who have scored in double figures in every one of their games played this season. J.D. Note second behind Iverson Molinar with 29 of them. Molinar's got 30. Once the ball got out of his hand and he's still finishing.
No, nothing battles J.D. Note. I've heard stories of practice where Eric Musselman just lays into him for this assignment. The expression never changes. I mean, he is a big-time talent that lives in the middle third of that floor. His numbers just jump off the chart in terms of his productivity from the middle third.
Tough matchup for Amude over Josiah Jordan James. Challenge the shot. Loose ball. And we've got a jump ball. We'll go to Tennessee up 15. I think the ball is on the floor in Arkansas games more than any other team I've watched this season. I mean, that LSU game the other night looked like you and I going bowling on a Friday night. It was on the floor so much.
Effort, toughness, it's a non-negotiable with both Eric Musselman and Rick Barnes. If you're soft in any area, you can't play with either one of these two head coaches. You will not last.
Flush by Huntley Hatfield.
What a job by Vescovy to fight his way out of a double team. As he was bottled up and chewed up, but just continued to fight and pivot to get out of it.
Likes rattles one home. He's got a dozen. He's playing with 4 fouls here late.
He's a scoring little point guard is what he is. Plays with extreme confidence on the offensive end. Eric Musselman's going to have to get a good 8, 9, sometimes 10 minutes out of him in NCAA tournament.
Spent his first few seasons at Miami. Owen Boykins was on the staff when he first got there. That's a pretty good guard to learn from. Loose ball. Tennessee's basketball, 3 seconds on the shot clock.
What's the play by Vescovy here, Tom? He's doubled up. He has an unused dribble, but he pivots and fights his way and stays low out of double team and finds the backside of that Tennessee coming out of the hammer spot. But it's just the fight factor of Vescovy. Eric Musselman couldn't talk enough about the respect he has for 25 and white yesterday. The kid's in phenomenal shape. He's a guy you just can't knock out of the game in any area. That last play was a good example of it.
As a shot blocked by Note, trying to get it off the end of the buzzer. Likes in transition. Arkansas still has life. Likes pulls them within 11.
Arkansas needs a really good next 2 minutes defensively. Keep the game pressure on Tennessee.
They're going to get Trey Wade for the foul, his second.
Arkansas's defense can get on you. J.D. Note is so good. Vescovy got him earlier. Note comes back and says, I can get yours on the other end as well with a block shot. Both teams are really good at scoring off of their defense. A lot of teams can get stops. Arkansas and Tennessee, as good as anybody in this league, at scoring off their stops.
Another one coming for Adu, freshman from Durham, North Carolina. At 10 of 11 for the line of the season. Tennessee's lead is 13, 4:45 to play. Note fading off. And Ziegler stepped on the end line.
If you can make Note go to his right into a pull-up off that ball screen, about as good as you can do, because he is lethal at the left elbow area. The numbers back it up. His shooting percentage from the left elbow as opposed to the right, quite a contrast.
Why would that be? It's only a difference of 8 feet.
Well, it's right-handed guys love going to the left into the jump shot, and Note's one of them.
Wow, powerful move on the tip in by Williams.
He is so good when he just makes winning plays. Just whatever you need from the 5-spot guys, this kid can deliver. This game is far from over.
Ziegler throws it away.
He really just come flying in here. Right there. Really soft hands, man. For a big kid to come flying in with that much velocity, but then finish it off with soft hands. And really an uncommon combination. He is a handful.
Jalen Williams picked up his 3rd personal foul just a minute and a half into the second. But he's played clean ball since. I don't think he's picked up a charge in this game.
He has not. Maybe the first time all year.
Yeah, 48 charges on the season. Likes for 3 again. Wade pulls it in.
Wade just went the backside war against Fulkerson. Just absolutely wore him out.
Lotte. Got it. Delivered it from the logo. They whittle it down to 8.
When you have a guy like J.D. Note, it is so hard to put that team away. And this time he can go on a 6-9-0 run all by himself. That's what you're trying to guard against right now for Tennessee.
And this Tennessee offense, which was playing loose and free earlier, suddenly seems a lot more deliberate.
Pretty stagnant on this possession.
Chandler, first miss from deep. Arkansas has an opportunity. All eyes on Note. Now James on him.
You can't back up. If Note beats you off the bounce, that's one thing.
Off the back rim, another board. They'll try it again. They'll wait. The drive and kick. Huge three coming. Amuda got it.
And what a rim decision by J.D. Note. He was going to take a tough two at the rim, but the late find by Amude, the second best shooter that Muss has on the floor. No give in at all by these Arkansas Razorbacks.
Hogs on an 8-0 run. Rick Barnes wants to talk about it. 2:46 to play and a battle for possibly a share of the SEC title. The Arkansas Razorbacks have J.D. Note on the roster, and he's finally started on a 10-0 run. By the way, for those of you waiting for Indiana and Purdue, that is underway right now in West Lafayette. You can start that on the app, and we'll get you there as soon as we finish on Rocky Top. Tom Hart, Jimmy Dykes, Arkansas on an 8-0 run. Jimmy, how they done it?
Offensive rebounds. Arkansas has 14 in this game. The second half, they have punished Tennessee on their own offensive glass.
Volunteers scoreless over the last 2 minutes. Blocking foul on Jalen Williams. The league leader in charges taken commits his 4th personal.
Tennessee trend in late game, tight ball games, out of timeouts, is getting Kennedy Chandler speed going downhill. And that's the right call. Jalen Williams stepping over. Not in legal guarding position when Chandler drives that ball and lifts it up for the last time. But the speed of Chandler is really something special. And Rick Barnes now goes to it trying to close out games.
And so Kennedy Chandler, the freshman from Memphis, projected first-round pick to the free throw line. And he missed the first. J.D. Note left it short. And the difference is Arkansas did not track down an offensive rebound that time.
And Note is such a threat, though, in transition. He gets that in and out move going and gets that defense off balance. His step back three is unguardable.
Here's Ziegler now over Likes. Lid on the basket still for Tennessee, scoring drought of but 2.5 minutes. Note draws the foul. Tried to take it the distance.
One of the strengths of Note, and there's a long list of them, is his ability to fight as a defensive rebounder and bring that thing out. And he got rim to rim in about 3.5, 4 seconds. Big physical guard. One of the most feared things in this league is one in red coming at you with a full head of steam.
Hasn't made a free throw today. Foul trouble for both sides. Tennessee with Chandler, Fulkerson, James, and Flopchich, each with 4 personal. On the Arkansas side, Robinson, Williams, and Likes sitting at 4 each.
And Tom, what was such a relaxed, confident Thompson-Bowling Arena about 45 minutes ago, you could cut the tension with a knife in here now. They know Arkansas is rolling.
Razorbacks make it a 1-possession game thanks to J.D. Note. It's a 10-0 Hog run.
3-point guards on the floor for Tennessee. All 3 can drive it and get a piece of the paint.
That's going to be on Amude. Ziegler shares it. Here's Chandler now. Good closeout. Vescovy down the lane. Fulkerson draws a foul on Likes, and that'll do it for Chris Likes. And Jimmy had a huge hand in bringing Arkansas back in the second half.
He has been a big factor as Chris Likes. 15 points. This is a hard foul to swallow if Arkansas. Likes is 5'7", but the last second when he sticks his rear end out and dislodges Fulkerson in the air is what the official called. But Likes was doing his job, man. Coming down, scraping down, getting involved in the fight. Still, that's That's a hard foul for Eric Musselman to have to accept. 1:43 to go.
2 free throws counted for John Fulkerson, the 4th oldest player in Division I basketball. But 24 years old, is celebrating his 2nd senior day here on Rocky Top. And he missed the first. Free throw shooting has allowed Arkansas to stay in this game late.
Yeah, Tennessee now 15 out of 23 from the free throw line.
Fulkerson has yet to score this half. One of 2 from the line. J.D. Note has come alive in the second half. He's got Ziegler on it.
If you're Tennessee, you deny Note all over the floor right now.
Wade got James in the air. Could hit the bank shot. Follows his own miss. Doesn't let it short. Arkansas will get another crack at it with 1:25 to play.
Yeah, just the fight of the Arkansas Razorbacks on the glass, though, is why they're still in this thing. I mean, Wade misses what looks like an automatic 2, but his second jump, much like Kari Eason did to Arkansas in their own building on Wednesday night, a real factor in this game. And Must now with a baseline out.
Howard says.
Yeah.
Good officiating crew, Joe Lindsay, Bart Lennox, and Will Howard in the stripes today.
J.D. Note is normally the out-of-bounds under trigger guy. And it depends on who Musselman puts out of bounds under. He's going to use Devo Davis as the passer. Look for an opportunity for Note to be a screener first, and then it gets screened. Jalen Williams is always a factor.
Lob is knocked away by James. It'll say Tennessee basketball.
They'll have to look at this again. There was 6 hands right around the ball. Tennessee was really good being physical on their baseline out of bounds under defense outside. Wide pressure hard right here from Arkansas. Tennessee with 1 timeout left. They don't want to have to burn it to save the 5-second count. The second cut is usually the one that gets you open.
Should be about a minute left when Arkansas gets the ball back. A little less than that, down at least 4.
And you know Jalen Williams, the best in the country at taking charges. So make a play off of 2 feet if your Tennessee guards attacking the rim.
Shot clock now at 10. Ziegler goes into the lane. Into Williams, gets turned around. Shot clock at 5. Vescovy lost the handle on it. Arkansas basketball down 4. Under a minute to play.
The value of Jalen Williams as a drop coverage defender. Have the entire rim protected for the entire possession when he angles. Regardless, 58 to go and Arkansas down 4. This is J.D. Note time. I'm just telling you. Middle third of the floor, he and Jay Williams operating in the middle ball screen.
Got a step on Ziegler. And before the lob,
someone to get J.D. Note freed up in the backcourt. And now it's a numbers game. And Note, the read was going to be there. Arkansas had a guy positioned and coming out of the dunker spot in case Note gets stepped up on. Really good play call by Eric Musselman.
Game-winning free throws Wednesday night against LSU with 8 seconds left for Note. He's already made it a 1-possession game here. It's the closest it's been since we're a minute 7 seconds into this game. Arkansas trailed by 24 at one point. 2-point Tennessee lead. Tennessee content to use some clock. Ziegler, guarded by Davis. To drive. Cut off. Here's Fulkerson with 10 on his senior day. Backs down Williams. Short. Rebounded by Arkansas. 1 second difference. They will push it, and they throw it away. And now they'll have to foul with 27.5 seconds left and the shot clock off.
You know J.D. Note wishes he could have that one back because he is such a powerful guard with the ball in his hands. That pass would have had to be a perfect pass. And even then, Davis was going to be in a tough position.
Vescovy's the wrong guy to foul, but the only one with the basketball. And they finally get to him after 5 seconds ran off.
And the Arkansas defense was like a glove on this possession. Bang, bang, a couple of contact plays. Fulkerson forced into a tough two. Moody comes in and with a rip right here. JD, just keep it. Because even if he catches, he's going out of bounds. Just a poor decision at the wrong time by JD Notae.
Santiago Vescovy to the free throw line. In the last 4 minutes or overtime in his college career, he is a 90% free throw shooter. That is 13 points better than his average.
I turned you on to that last year.
He sure did. Whatever your reality is, I want to live in it.
He is money, though, in this situation. Tough guys on the stripe. Vescovy is it.
This is the big one. And of course, he knocks them both down. Lead is 4, 20 seconds to play.
Doesn't need to be a panic shot by Arkansas. Notae to the rim is good.
And he got the foul and will go to the line. It's on James, and he is fouled out.
It's very difficult. Tennessee makes the free throw, and they can't get back and get their defense set in time to keep Notae from getting towards the rim. And Josiah Jordan-James maybe sliding over just at the very end, but either way, Notae gets the call. But that's a proper thing for Arkansas to do.
Did you see a walk on that play by chance?
I did not. I was looking to see if Josiah was rotating over. Maybe there was. Did you see it? Either way, Notae made the right decision, not shoot a panic three and extend the length of the game.
It was close. We'll take a look at it after the first free throw from Notae. Powell now in for James. Notae 4 of 6 today. Watch his feet.
Hard drives the ball. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, good call. It could have been called. I think that maybe the block charge play was right at the same time. Doesn't matter. 2-point game.
Razorbacks pick him up full court. They will foul immediately. It's Ziegler. And they're going to put an 88% free throw shooter on the line. Even better than that in conference play. Ziegler at 90. But he's just 1 of 2 in this game.
Tom, that's the value Tennessee has of putting 3 point guards on the floor to close you out. Vescovy at 78% from the line. This kid at 90%.
There it is.
It looked long from the release.
Arkansas is going to have a shot. Victor Bailey into the game for Tennessee. At most, Razorbacks will have a chance for a tie. Ziegler hits the second. And Eric Musselman will use one of his 3 remaining timeouts to talk about. So a lot of different things you can set up here with 15 seconds left to go.
Well, JD Notae has plenty of time to rush this thing up the floor and get to the rim and continue to extend the length of the game. You cannot come off of Amude, who's in the far right corner, who for the month of February, 0 in red, has knocked down the 3 ball at a 54-55% clip. Again, it should not be a panic shot offensive glass when the shot goes. What does Eric Musselman do to get Notae the ball coming downhill? That's where the story is right now. Jaden Williams is a trail guy. He's not a trail 3 shooter.
They let him get it on the inbounds. Notae across midcourt. Looking for a 3. That will be no good. Rebound Tennessee and Ziegler, and a quick foul with 7 seconds left. You mentioned it. Going to his right, he's a different shooter.
He absolutely is. Eric Musselman goes for the tie right off the bat. J.D. Notae knew all along where he was going with the ball. A little bit of a smoke screen and then a full body screen coming in to try to free him up. But the numbers back it up. J.D. Notae, Tom, on that side of the floor in that slot is shooting about 31% from 3. He's 45% from the middle third, 24% from the left third.
Oh, huge miss for Ziegler. He uses 1 for his last 3 from the line. That'll make it a 4-point game. And 7 seconds left for the Hogs. They'll need a miracle now. Quick three, Amude left it short. The loose ball with one, and the